Hi, my name is Amy Conklin, and this is Module 8, Legal Aspects of Teacher Evaluation. Today I will summarize the 3 articles we were to read regarding legal aspects and teacher evaluations. I will then discuss the current evaluation process at Perry-LeCompton USD 343, and within that process look at the recourse a teacher has for a bad evaluation. I will also look at a legal case involving teacher evaluation, and finally discuss how this impacts my role as a future administrator. The first article was Every Student Succeeds Act, and it involves some key points regarding teacher evaluation. The first is that when a district wants to adopt a new process for teacher evaluation, it is best to do so in partnership with the teachers. This will increase buy-in from the teachers and help them to feel that they have a say in how they will be evaluated. Another key point, and this is something we keep hearing throughout this course, is that student test scores should not be used in the teacher evaluation process. Another point is that when a new system is brought in, all staff, including teachers and administration, should be trained on the new system to make sure that the system is being done with fidelity. Some more key points from this article was that before making high-stakes decisions, such as firing a teacher when you have a new system, you need to pilot it first. You need to make sure you know all the ins and outs and maybe any of the bugs associated with the new system before you make any high-stakes decisions. And lastly, this article brought to light that teachers should still have improvement plans and should still go through due process if there is an issue. The second article was Teacher Evaluation Heads to the Courts. And there were a variety of court cases that this article went through, but most of them involved using student test scores in teachers' evaluations. Some of the issues that were brought up in these court cases were issues like school-wide growth. Teachers did not feel that it was fair that they were being evaluated on students that they didn't even teach within the school-wide growth model. Other court cases brought up that the student test scores data that was being used was flawed or incomplete. One teacher even said that her evaluation was based on a fraction of her students and not the whole population. And then lastly, one of the other issues with student test scores is when we're looking at student growth. And what formula are we using for that growth? And this particular court case said that it was vague in how we were looking at student growth. The third article we were to read was Teacher Evaluation, an Issue Overview. This brought up 4 factors for why there has been a change in the teacher evaluation process. The first one is that there's been new research on teacher quality. This is one that is of great importance to me. I truly feel that we cannot have an effective evaluation system if we don't truly understand the underlying constructs for what makes an effective teacher, and I think more research needs to happen in this area. The second factor has been all the philanthropic interest involved in teacher quality. Bill and Melinda Gates spent $700 million in the Teacher Quality Initiative alone. The additional funding that has been out there has helped the states want to revamp their laws on evaluation. The fourth factor that has led to the change in teacher evaluation has been the political pressure to dismiss ineffective teachers, especially some of the research that has been done that shows an ineffective teacher only does half the growth than an effective teacher can. So what is the evaluation process, or what is one of the evaluation tools that is out there? Currently, Perry-LeCompton USD 343 utilizes McCrell. There is an 8-step process to McCrell. The first step is that the administrators and teachers have an orientation to the McCrell process. For new staff, that's going to include training on the process that McCrell uses and some of the background information. For staff that have already used McCrell, that would just do an overview of the process and make sure they understand all of the steps. So after the orientation, the first step a teacher is going to do is the self-assessment that will take them through different standards that have been outlined that a teacher should have. This will then lead to the development of a professional plan. After that plan has been developed and the self-assessment has been completed, the administrator and the teacher will sit down for a pre-evaluation conference. This will include looking over the self-assessment and plan, as well as discuss upcoming observations. Data collection is the next step. That involves formal observation from the principal, and McCrell states that the observation must be at least 45 minutes in length. And for new staff, 3 observations must be completed. Within the McCrell system, they also say that informal observation should also happen, and that possibly a peer could do a formal observation as well. The teacher also collects evidence at this point of how they are making growth on their plan. There is then a mid-year conference where the administrator and the teacher get together to discuss the observations, the evidence, and how the teacher is coming with the plan. Now, I did say that the teacher and administrator meet for the observation. However, within the McCrell system, they do say that after a formal observation is completed, the administrator should meet with the teacher within 10 school days to give them specific feedback. Again, after the mid-year conference, data collection occurs. The administrator then assigns a summary rating to the teacher, and a final conference is held where the administrator goes through the summary ratings and how the teacher did and sets future goals. So what recourse does a teacher have if within the McCrell process that they receive a bad rating or a bad evaluation? The teacher can ask for additional evidence to be included. So if the principal gave the teacher a bad evaluation or rated them lower, maybe the teacher has additional evidence that would increase that rating, and the teacher can ask to have that submitted. A teacher can write a dissenting opinion, which can also be attached to the evaluation so that other people know that the teacher did not agree with the evaluation. And then there are other aspects that the teacher can do. They can move up the chain of command. Maybe the teacher needs to speak with someone higher than the principal, such as the superintendent, or possibly the teacher needs to consult with an NEA rep or possibly an attorney if they are being let go for unjust cause. I'm going to examine a legal case that involves teacher evaluation, and this particular case is Doe versus Antioch. A group called Students Matter brought the lawsuit against 13 school districts in Southern California. They alleged that districts were in violation of the STAHL Act by not using student standardized test results in teacher evaluations. They felt that a fair, consistent way to evaluate teachers included multiple measures, but one of those measures needed to be progress on standardized test scores. The courts ruled that the districts had broad discretion over how to use the test scores and that they did not need to be needed in the evaluation process. So how does this impact my role as a future administrator? First of all, I think it's important as an administrator to keep up to date on the research and court cases involving teacher evaluation. One of the particular items I would want to focus on is the research being built upon what constitutes an effective teacher. Again, I do not feel that a good evaluation tool can be developed unless we truly understand those underlying constructs. As an administrator, though, I would also want to keep up to date on the court cases involving teacher evaluation because that may impact how, in fact, I do the evaluations in the future. As an administrator, it is always important to keep open lines of communication. This includes the staff that I work with, my Board of Education, and any of the administrators, such as the superintendent, that are higher than the principal. If any issues arise, the principal is going to need the support and communication with both the superintendent and Board of Education, especially if there is a problem with a teacher. Thank you for listening to my Module 8 Legal Aspects of Teacher Evaluation.